Our everyday lives are busy, complicated, and above all else, stressful. But is that all? Or is there a deeper relationship between stress and how productive our lives are?
I think the relationship between stress and productivity is somewhat unclear. While certain people respond to stress negatively, others have demonstrated a propensity to positively interact with stress even on a subconscious level.
It's a rather strange anomaly in my opinion. Stress resembles an aberration in the lives of most, but ironically, a construct produced by hardship may influence your respective ability to dissipate such adversity.
I've asked so many people how they respond to stress. It begs the question as to whether or not stress is holistically beneficial to productivity.
This study was conducted to fully furnish the tendencies of the individual when subject to stress, strictly measured by academic capability. While stress also influences other aspects of life, they can be cumulatively measured, at least generally, by performance in school.
Schools are the most important institution for helping our posterity. So why are there so many issues with them? I found myself asking this question rather frequently, so I decided to observe students at the Riverside STEM Academy. While most students are doing fine, I heard about others who are immensely stressed. Hey, good afternoon. Ashley's a student at STEM, and while she thinks stress is beneficial, I wasn't too sure myself, so I wanted to ask another student for their opinion. Hey, I've been wondering how students respond to stress here.
That's an interesting question. Although I'm pretty sure that everyone got more stressed later on, I'm not really sure how their behavior changed.
Do you think it's due to standardized testing or late year stress?
I'm not sure. There are a lot of factors that play into stress. This may just be me, but APs played a large role in increasing mine.
That got me thinking. I decided to do a comparative analysis between stress and productivity in students. After all, the possible association between these two variables has deviated greatly based on observation. So I met with a fellow researcher of mine to see if he could help me.
I'm assuming then that we're testing for two distinct relationships, stress to productivity and stress to perceived influence on the student.
Of course.
A survey was organized asking for the students' grade, perceived stress, perceived productivity, statistical productivity, and their opinions on the correlation.
I've done my fair share of research too. An empirical study conducted by Ali Uzman found a moderate association between stress and productivity in the workplace, but his results weren't terminal, so I wanted to do some research on my own. Hi, I'm Christian Orozco. I'm on the Riverside STEM Academy campus. I'm interviewing students about stress. Come with me. Hello, student. Does stress keep you productive?
Yes. Not really, no.
You suck.
Hey, does stress keep you productive?
Sure.
No.
Let's get it on.
Does stress keep you productive?
No. Kind of, yeah.
You f***ing suck. Hey, you on the bench, loner. Does stress keep you productive?
No.
We wanted more data, so we decided to dig even deeper. Fortunately for us, Michael happened to be a qualified expert as well, so he provided service in our study.
Were you more or less stressed during the AP season?
I would definitely say I was stressed. I want to get good scores on them.
Were you more or less stressed during the AP season?
More. I was more stressed during the AP season, just because I wanted to do well on the test.
Were you more or less stressed during AP season? I was stressed.
So I was born in Torrance, California, but I've grown up in Riverside. I have a sister who goes to Poly High School, and I have a dog named Seth. I'm not really stressed.
Unfortunately, the results we got were incredibly heterogeneous.
I think it's an issue with confounding variables. Individuals are incredibly diverse and each will respond differently.
After converting the data into statistical terms, we were able to grasp a more holistic perspective to our investigation. First, let's look at p-values and alpha levels. A p-value determines whether or not the data is actually associated or just caused by natural variance. The lower the p-value, the more likely your data was not just a fluke. P reaches a level of significance when it is lower than your designated alpha level. We chose an alpha of 0.05, which is typically standard among statisticians. Unfortunately, after calculating P through several two-tailed t-tests, our data revealed p-values far larger than alpha, meaning that our data most likely demonstrates no correlation. So what could be the essential relationship we're missing? We decided to visit a professor and incorporate their opinion in our study. Do you believe stress and productivity are correlated?
Yeah, I do believe stress and productivity are correlated. I think a small amount of stress keeps the mind sharp, but I think too much stress has the opposite effect and confuses the brain.
What variables might change stress levels?
Gosh, I think there's so many. What increases stress is probably the number of assignments a student might have, or the number of exams they might have, which depends on the number of classes they have, the level of class that they have. Some of the things that students could probably do to decrease that would be learning some time managing skills, devoting time to other things than just studies, like exercise and nutrition and building friendships.
Does a person's perception on stress affect how stress influences their respective productivity?
Yeah, I really think so. I think a person's mindset does affect a lot of how things affect us. If we view stress as a sort of a positive motivator, as something to keep us going, then I think it'll have less of a negative effect than if we are always worried about being stressed.
Research done by Daniela Kofer, a professor at UC Berkeley, found that the effects stress has on the individual are highly correlated to the individual's opinion on stress. In other words, people who do not believe in the positive effects stress may have are more prone to be negatively affected by them.
Surely enough, the data revealed two spikes when comparing overall frequencies of stress. Is that just a coincidence?
If we split the graph into two separate components, we get a rather interesting trend. People who tend to agree that stress keeps them productive centered around 5, while those who didn't centered around 7. Therefore, it may be that taking a positive approach towards dealing with hardship actually decreases overall stress.
Those results are confirmed by Lucy Dyer, who explained in 2014 that the rates of depression and anxiety in students was a result of their psychological take on stress itself, influenced heavily by standardized testing.
It is essentially these studies that would determine how our education system chooses to shape the next generation.
It is imperative to understand how to alleviate stress. While stress may affect everyone differently, knowing that approaching adversity with an open mind will facilitate that process is something everyone should know.
It comes down to the individual. How they choose to interact with stress ultimately determines their productivity, mental health, and happiness at school.
Go.
an interesting one. Answer one.
Nice. You naked and you up like a biscuit.
I just wanted to say thanks. I'm glad you came along, partner.